What if the guidance your family desperately needs is already available, but you're only asking for it at random moments? Tonight, as you close your eyes after another exhausting day filled with unresolved conflicts, unanswered questions, and that persistent feeling that something essential is missing from your home, you might wonder why your prayers seem to echo in empty space. You've asked God for help countless times, yet the arguments continue, the children remain distant, and that deep peace you long for feels more elusive than ever. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss more teachings and advice from Saint Teresa. You're about to discover something that could transform not just your prayer life, but the very atmosphere of your home. Saint Teresa of Jesus, the great master of prayer and spiritual realism, understood something profound about timing in the spiritual life. She knew that the Holy Spirit, while always present, pours forth with special abundance at specific moments when our hearts are most receptive and our souls most prepared to receive divine guidance. Perhaps you've been praying with sincere intention, but without the wisdom that comes from centuries of mystical experience. Teresa spent decades learning not just how to pray, but when to pray for maximum spiritual fruitfulness. She discovered that there are 3 sacred moments in each day when heaven opens more readily to our petitions for family guidance, when the Paraclete responds with particular generosity to those who approach with humble hearts and determined faith. Tonight you'll learn these 3 moments that Teresa herself would have used if she had been called to guide a family rather than a convent. These aren't magical formulas or superstitious practices, but time-tested spiritual principles rooted in the deepest traditions of the Church. Are you ready to discover why your family prayers might have been missing their most powerful potential? Are you prepared to learn when the Holy Spirit waits most eagerly to guide your household toward the peace and unity you've been seeking? You've probably noticed that some prayers seem to have wings while others feel like they barely leave your lips. This isn't coincidence or divine favoritism. It's the mystery of spiritual timing that Teresa understood with remarkable clarity. Just as a farmer knows when to plant for the richest harvest, Teresa knew when to approach God for the deepest graces. The Holy Spirit, while never absent, moves with special intensity at certain moments when our human nature is most aligned with divine reception. Think about your most desperate moments as a parent or spouse. Haven't you noticed that your most heartfelt prayers often come during times of crisis, when your defenses are down and your heart is completely open? Teresa recognized this pattern and taught that instead of waiting for emergencies, we can intentionally position ourselves at these moments of natural spiritual receptivity. She understood that the soul, like the earth, has seasons of particular fertility for receiving divine seeds. The 3 moments Teresa would identify for family guidance aren't arbitrary selections from a spiritual menu. They correspond to the natural rhythm of grace that flows through the Catholic day. The moment when Christ is most present within us, the moment when we offer our day to divine providence, and the moment when we surrender our anxieties to divine mercy. Each of these times represents a unique opening in the fabric of ordinary life where extraordinary grace can enter. What makes these moments particularly powerful for family prayer is that they align with the Church's understanding of the domestic church. Your home isn't just where your family lives, it's where the Holy Spirit wants to establish a small cenacle, a place where divine guidance flows as naturally as conversation around your dinner table. But do you know how to recognize these moments when they arrive? Do you understand how to position your heart to receive the fullest measure of divine guidance for those you love most? Imagine holding the most precious treasure in the universe, and you have exactly 60 seconds to make the most important request of your life. This is the reality every time you receive Holy Communion. In those sacred minutes following the Eucharist, you carry within your being not just the presence of Christ, but the fullness of the Trinity. The same Spirit who transformed bread and wine into the body and blood of Christ now dwells within you with unprecedented intimacy. Teresa would have understood this as the supreme moment for family intercession. Your soul, in those precious minutes after communion, exists in a state of singular union with Christ that will never be repeated exactly the same way again. This isn't merely a spiritual metaphor. It's a mystical reality that Teresa experienced with profound intensity. When Christ dwells sacramentally within you, your prayers for your family carry a weight and authority they possess at no other time. The barriers between your heart and heaven, become thinner than tissue paper, and your intercessions can penetrate directly to the throne of grace. Here's how Teresa would approach this sacred opportunity. Instead of rushing back into the world's noise, remain in contemplative silence for at least 60 seconds. In that silence, present each family member by name to the Holy Spirit dwelling within you. Don't just ask for general blessings. Request specific gifts your family needs. Wisdom for difficult decisions, patience for daily irritations, courage for future challenges, peace for current conflicts. Visualize the Spirit's fire descending upon your home like it descended upon the apostles at Pentecost. The practical fruit of this post-communion prayer extends far beyond the church doors. Families who practice this sacred discipline report a noticeable shift in their home's spiritual atmosphere. Arguments lose their venom, forgiveness comes more readily, and decisions carry a clarity that seems to come from beyond human reasoning. This isn't coincidence. It's the natural result of inviting divine governance into your domestic life at the moment when such invitations carry maximum spiritual authority. Are you ready to transform those precious post-communion moments from mere thanksgiving into powerful family intercession? If this message is touching your heart, do something simple but powerful. Subscribe to this channel right now and activate notifications. Write in the comments, "Holy Spirit, guide my family like you guided Saint Teresa." Your testimony could be the light another soul needs to not give up today. And if you know someone living in family anxiety, share this video. Saint Teresa believed that graces shouldn't be hoarded, but shared. Before you check your phone, before you mentally rehearse your worries, before the world's urgency invades your consciousness, there exists a sacred threshold that Teresa would have recognized as pure spiritual gold. The first moments of awakening represent a daily opportunity to establish divine governance over everything that will unfold in the next 24 hours. This isn't merely about starting your day with prayer. It's about determining who will actually direct your family's path through whatever challenges and opportunities await. Teresa understood that the morning offering isn't a religious formality, but an act of spiritual government. When you consciously place your family under the Holy Spirit's guidance before the day begins, you're not just asking for divine assistance. You're surrendering the illusion of total control that causes so much family stress and conflict. You're declaring that today's decisions, conversations, and unexpected events will be navigated with divine wisdom rather than purely human reaction. The practical application Teresa would recommend requires no elaborate ceremony, just determined intentionality. Gather your family, even if only for 60 seconds, and make the sign of the cross together. Speak a simple invocation, "Come, Holy Spirit, guide our words and decisions today." Then offer one specific intention for your family's day ahead. Perhaps it's wisdom for a difficult conversation with a teenager, patience during a stressful work deadline, or protection during travel. This brief ritual transforms your morning routine from mechanical preparation into spiritual preparation. Families who consistently practice this morning offering report remarkable changes in their daily experience. Conflicts that would have escalated into major arguments somehow resolve more peacefully. Opportunities for connection and joy seem to appear more frequently. Most significantly, family members develop an increased sensitivity to the Holy Spirit's gentle promptings throughout the day. That inner nudge to listen before reacting, to offer help before being asked, to choose patience over irritation. This isn't spiritual imagination. It's the fruit of intentionally positioning your household under divine guidance when the day's spiritual trajectory is most malleable. What would change in your family if every morning began with this simple act of surrender to the Spirit's guidance? As darkness settles over your home and the day's activities wind down, a profound spiritual opportunity presents itself that Teresa would have treasured above precious gems. The threshold between day and night represents more than physical rest. It's a sacred passage where the Holy Spirit can heal the day's wounds, illuminate its lessons, and prepare your family's hearts for tomorrow's graces. This isn't merely about bedtime prayers. It's about creating a nightly encounter with divine mercy that gradually transforms your home into a small sanctuary. Teresa recognized that nightfall naturally invites the soul toward examination and reconciliation. The day that's ending carries both gifts received and opportunities missed, moments of grace embraced, and times when grace was resisted. Under the Holy Spirit's gentle illumination, these experiences become teachers rather than sources of guilt or regret. The evening examination Teresa would recommend for families isn't harsh self-scrutiny, but loving evaluation guided by divine wisdom. Where did we respond to grace today? Where did we resist it? What concrete step can we take tomorrow to grow in love? The practical form of this evening practice creates a rhythm of healing that prevents resentment from accumulating in your home. Begin with brief gratitude for the day's blessings, however small they might seem. Then acknowledge as a family any hurts that occurred, any harsh words spoken, any opportunities for kindness that were missed. This isn't about lengthy confession or detailed analysis. It's about keeping your family's spiritual arteries clear of the cholesterol of unresolved conflict. Follow this with simple acts of forgiveness and a shared invocation. Holy Spirit, watch over our rest, heal what was wounded and confirm what was good. Families who faithfully practice this evening rhythm discover that their homes gradually become places of extraordinary peace. Children learn that mistakes aren't catastrophes, but opportunities for growth. Parents model that relationships require daily tending and regular forgiveness. Most profoundly, the entire household develops confidence that tomorrow offers fresh grace for whatever challenges might arise. Sleep becomes truly restful because hearts rest in divine mercy, and the Holy Spirit's presence seems to hover over the house like a protective covering throughout the night. How might your family's evening hours become a daily gateway to deeper peace and stronger bonds? What makes these 3 moments so powerful isn't just their spiritual significance, but their profound psychological wisdom that Teresa intuited centuries before modern science confirmed her insights. The post-communion heart exists in a state of maximum receptivity, similar to what contemporary research identifies as the optimal window for profound learning and integration. The freshly awakened consciousness possesses a clarity and openness that diminishes as the day's stress accumulates. The pre-sleep mind naturally shifts toward reflection and processing, making it ideal for reconciliation and intention setting. Teresa's genius wasn't just in recognizing these moments, but in understanding how they work together to create a comprehensive rhythm of divine guidance that shapes family life from within. The morning offering establishes divine governance. The post-communion intercession intensifies it. The evening examination integrates its fruits. This isn't merely a collection of 3 separate practices, but a unified spiritual methodology that gradually aligns your family's entire existence with the Holy Spirit's guidance. Each moment feeds and strengthens the others, creating a synergy that's greater than the sum of its parts. Consider how different your family dynamics would be if every day began with conscious surrender to divine guidance, was intensified by Eucharistic intercession, and concluded with merciful examination and forgiveness. Arguments would lose their destructive power because they'd be submitted to divine perspective each evening. Decisions would carry more wisdom because they'd be made under consciously sought divine guidance. Relationships would deepen because daily forgiveness would prevent the accumulation of resentment and misunderstanding. The most remarkable aspect of Teresa's approach is its sustainable simplicity. These aren't elaborate spiritual exercises that require hours of prayer or advanced mystical experience. They're brief, practical moments that can be integrated into any family's routine, regardless of how busy or complex their lives might be. A single mother rushing to work can offer her morning minute. A busy father can use his post-communion time for family intercession. Even the most chaotic household can spare 60 seconds for evening reconciliation. Teresa understood that the spiritual life flourishes not through heroic efforts, but through faithful attention to small, daily opportunities for grace. Within the first week of practicing Teresa's 3 moments, you'll likely notice subtle but significant shifts in your family's emotional climate. Conversations that typically escalate into arguments may find natural resolution points. Children might become more responsive to guidance and correction. The general atmosphere of your home may feel less tense, more peaceful, infused with an inexplicable sense that someone wise and loving is watching over your household. These aren't dramatic mystical phenomena, but the gentle fruits of consistent cooperation with divine grace. As weeks turn into months, the transformations become more pronounced. Family members develop an increased sensitivity to each other's needs and struggles. The Holy Spirit's gift of counsel begins to manifest in more thoughtful decision-making. The gift of patience becomes evident in how you handle daily irritations and disappointments. Most remarkably, your family begins to develop what Teresa would call spiritual instinct, an intuitive sense of what builds unity and what threatens it, what honors God and what grieves the Spirit. The long-term fruits of this practice extend far beyond your immediate household. Children raised in homes where divine guidance is actively sought tend to develop strong moral compasses and confident prayer lives. They learn to recognize the Holy Spirit's voice in their own hearts and to seek divine guidance in their future decisions. Marriages strengthened by consistent spiritual practice demonstrate to the broader community what Christian family life can look like when it's truly centered on divine love rather than human willpower alone. Perhaps most importantly, your family becomes a source of hope for others who are struggling with their own domestic challenges. When people encounter a household where peace prevails, where forgiveness flows freely, where decisions are made with wisdom beyond human understanding, they witness a living testimony to the reality of divine grace. Your commitment to these 3 moments of seeking the Holy Spirit's guidance becomes a gift not just to your own family, but to everyone whose life intersects with yours. Are you ready to receive these fruits? Are you prepared to become this kind of witness to the power of the Holy Spirit in family life? Let's be honest about the challenges you'll encounter in establishing this rhythm of seeking the Holy Spirit's guidance. The first obstacle will be your own inconsistency. Some mornings you'll oversleep and rush out without your moment of offering. Some Sundays you'll leave Mass distracted and forget your post-communion intercession. Some evenings you'll collapse into bed without the family examination. Teresa would tell you that this is completely normal and expected. The spiritual life isn't about perfection. It's about persistent return to grace whenever you realize you've drifted. Your family members may initially resist this new structure, especially if they're not accustomed to regular spiritual practices. Children might complain about the extra time required. Your spouse might question whether these moments really make a difference. Teenagers may roll their eyes at what seems like forced religiosity. Teresa's advice would be gentle persistence combined with patient example. Don't impose these practices through force or guilt, but demonstrate their fruits through your own increased peace, patience, and wisdom. Let the Spirit's work in your life become the most compelling argument for your family's participation. The world's relentless pace will constantly pressure you to abandon these moments of spiritual intentionality. Urgent emails, breaking news, social media notifications, and 1,000 other distractions will compete for the time and attention these practices require. Teresa understood this challenge intimately. She lived in a world where religious duties often became mere external obligations. Her solution was what she called determined determination, a firm commitment to prioritize the interior life regardless of external pressures. The Holy Spirit's guidance is worth protecting from the world's noise. Perhaps the most subtle obstacle will be discouragement when you don't immediately see dramatic changes in your family life. Teresa would remind you that the most profound spiritual fruits often develop slowly and imperceptibly, like a tree growing strong roots before producing visible growth above ground. Trust that the Holy Spirit is working in ways you cannot yet perceive, preparing your family for graces you cannot yet imagine. The decision to persevere when you cannot yet see results is itself a profound act of faith that opens your household to even deeper divine intervention. Imagine waking up 6 months from now in a home where the Holy Spirit's presence is as natural and noticeable as the warmth of sunlight streaming through your windows. This isn't an impossible dream or an unrealistic expectation. It's the normal fruit of consistently seeking divine guidance through Teresa's 3 moments. Families who faithfully practice these simple disciplines report that their homes gradually become places where God's peace is tangible, where wisdom guides decision-making, and where love flows more freely between family members. The transformation isn't usually dramatic or sudden, but steady and unmistakable. You'll notice that conflicts resolve more quickly and peacefully. Family meetings become more productive as members learn to listen for the Spirit's guidance rather than simply defending their own positions. Children develop stronger moral intuition and become more responsive to parental guidance. The general emotional temperature of your home stabilizes at a level of peace and joy that surprises even visitors who don't share your faith. Most profoundly, your family develops what the early Christians called spiritual discernment, the ability to recognize the Holy Spirit's guidance in ordinary circumstances. You'll learn to distinguish between decisions made from anxiety and those made from divine peace. Your family will become more sensitive to opportunities for service, more generous in hospitality, more patient with each other's weaknesses. This isn't because you've become perfect, but because you've become increasingly cooperative with divine grace. The ultimate fruit of this spiritual practice is that your family becomes a source of evangelization simply by living according to the Spirit's guidance. When neighbors observe a household where peace prevails, where forgiveness is readily offered, where decisions are made with wisdom and love, they witness a powerful testimony to the reality of God's active presence in daily life. Your commitment to seeking the Holy Spirit's guidance 3 times each day becomes a gift to your broader community, demonstrating that divine love isn't just a beautiful ideal, but a practical reality that transforms ordinary family life into something extraordinary. As we conclude this journey into Teresa's wisdom about seeking the Holy Spirit's guidance, you stand at a threshold that could define your family's spiritual destiny for generations to come. The 3 moments Teresa would prescribe, after communion, at dawn, before sleep, aren't merely suggestions for more prayerful living. They're invitations to participate in the Holy Spirit's ongoing mission to transform the world through transformed families, to bring the peace of Christ into homes, and to raise children who will carry divine wisdom into their own future households. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, you have an opportunity to begin implementing Teresa's evening practice immediately. Gather your family, even if resistance arises, and spend just 60 seconds in gratitude, examination, and surrender to the Spirit's protection. Tomorrow morning, before the day's urgency claims your attention, offer those precious first moments to divine guidance. This Sunday, transform your post-communion minutes into powerful intercession for your family's spiritual growth and unity. These aren't burdensome additions to your schedule. They're lifelines to divine grace that will support everything else you attempt to accomplish. The decision you make today will echo through your family's future in ways you cannot yet imagine. Children raised in homes where divine guidance is actively sought develop spiritual confidence that serves them throughout their lives. Marriages strengthened by consistent spiritual practice demonstrate to the world what Christian love actually looks like when it's supported by divine grace. Most importantly, your commitment to these practices opens your family to whatever specific mission the Holy Spirit has prepared for your unique household in God's plan for renewing the world. Teresa would remind you that the spiritual life is built through small, faithful steps rather than dramatic gestures. The family that learns to seek the Holy Spirit's guidance 3 times each day will gradually discover that they're living not just a more peaceful life, but a truly supernatural life where divine love transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for grace. Your journey into this deeper way of family spirituality begins not tomorrow, not next week, but right now, with your decision to trust Teresa's wisdom and open your household to the Spirit's guidance. Are you ready to take that step? Is your family prepared to become a small cenacle where the Holy Spirit truly reigns? The decision and the